Hello. In this video, we'll be talking about creativity. That is how to become creative as a graphic designer. Of course, creativity is one of the key to a good graphic design. And I can tell you that the difference between two graphic designers is their level of creativity. So what makes one graphic designer better than the other is his or her level of creativity. So let's go into this creative process. This is going to help you in a way on how to become creative. So let's proceed. Now, under this we'll be talking about, I'm going to introduce you to the creative process. Then we are going to define what a creative brief is. Then we look at research. As a graphic designer, you need to make research. Then we look at ideation, and the last, which is production. A small fry in the field of graphics is usually faced with the challenge of how to be creative. But as the saying goes, literature does not exist in vacuum. Inspiration is always drawn from somewhere. Yeah, it is daunting at first to design graphics, but I can assure you that even the best graphic designer today didn't just wake up one day and became a good graphic designer. No, it's not what happens overnight. It's a process. So, don't be discouraged. Of course, you can make a good graphic designer. It's just a matter of time. Okay, let's move on. Now, creative brief. This is the genesis of your inspiration when it comes to graphic design. Now, how do you define a creative brief? A creative brief is a mini document usually sent from a client to a graphic designer and sometimes back from the designer to the client, containing the objectives, scheduling details, images, target audiences, and budget of the graphical project. The when the work is given to you as a graphic designer, you can't just have the inspiration to start working. Of course, you need to know what to work on. And that particular document that contains all that information is what is called creative brief. And sometimes, as a graphic designer, when it is given to you, then you have to also add a lot of things based on your research and return it back to the client. So usually it is sent from the client to the graphic designer the other way. So that is creative brief. Let's move on. Now, research. As a good graphic designer, in fact, to make a good graphic designer, you have to make a lot of researches. So professional graphic design begins with the research. You may need to get the requirements from your client, and that's where personally make some findings based on the brand value, the tone, the mood, colors, imagery, logo, target audiences, if it's necessary to put a good graphics to bed. Yes, a lot of things matter when you are designing a graphics, like the brand value. How do you want to, what do you know about the brand? How can the brand be interpreted? A lot of things. What are the brand's identity? You need to make a lot of researches based on that. Then the tone and the mood, yes, of the graphics. That's based on the message, based on the objective of that graphics. Then as well as the color, very important. Let's say for example we are designing the graphics for something like love, you don't know, maybe for a wedding or Valentine something, just any lovely program like that. So you need to research on color. Like in some places now, red depicts love, while some other places it depicts danger and some other things. So you have to make a lot of research based on this before you move on. Then as well as imagery, and such graphics, how do such graphics look? So you need to know all these. Then the logo. Now I'm going to relate the logo with the graphics. So there are a lot of research to do based on that, and the target audiences. This matters a lot. What are the audiences to view your graphic? It's going to determine a lot of things. You are going to put on that graphics. So there are a lot of things to research on before you begin the graphic design. So all these things are necessary before you put some graphics to bed. And with all these, of course, you are going to put a good graphics. And that's why I said this doesn't just happen overnight. Like, you can't just sleep and wake up and so after know what to do with a creative brief and all that, then make your research, then you should be able to do something. Ideation. Now this is the conceptualization and miming of ideas getting from the graphical research. It is the creation of rough sketch work as a guide to the graphic design proper. You can use any drawing materials, analog or digital, to achieve this. This stage of the creative process helps to minimize the time that will be spent on the graphical software. What this is saying is that before you start working on the application software you'll be using, then you need to have the idea of what you want to do. So that process of you miming that idea on the paper or using any software just to mime the original graphics is called ideation. So sometimes maybe you just need a paper and just how to do this rough work and just sketch what you want to do. Fine. So that this is going to save you time when you are working on the main application. Your favorites, it could be the graphical softwares, Photoshop, CorelDRAW, Illustrator, or so on. So that's ideation. This helps a lot. Of course, it helps a lot. Though I can tell you that some graphic designers are not into this anyway. But this is an ideal thing to do as a graphic designer. Now, production. Of course, this is the last stage. Production is the last stage of the creative process where the application software are used to make the graphics and prepare them for printing or digital delivery. You see, this is when you try to create something. This is what you have researched on. And of course, you can say it's either you make it for printing or for digital delivery. It's not all works that have to be printed. At times, you just design the work and use it just online. Maybe you want to upload on a social media platform. So, there are some settings you need to do when you are working on printing and when you are working on digital delivery. So we'll be coming to that gradually in no time. Like a software like AI, Adobe Illustrator, has an option for exporting graphics for screen. So when you are exporting for screen in AI, that means you are saving it in a relatively small size. Of course, because if you're uploading on social media platforms, you have to be watchful of the size of the graphics, because you don't want the viewers to take too long to view your graphics. Because when it's too heavy, then it's going to take a long time to load. So we want to avoid that. So here it has that default settings for that. So you can just export for screen. So of course, once again, this is the last stage called production. So gradually we are moving into the world of graphics. Alright?